Hi, I'm Sandra. Welcome to my bedroom. We are going to have a little chitty chat. But first, actually, I need a coffee. Okay. So I'm really excited to talk to you guys about ways to be successful on fieldwork because I personally feel like I did not have a lot of support going into my fieldwork settings from my school, and I don't think that's a negative. I think it's really important for us to learn how to be independent, but I think that mentorship is something that should exist more in healthcare, and so I hope to be a mini mentor for you as you're headed into a fieldwork experience. For those of you that aren't familiar, fieldwork is what OTs call their clinical rotation. This advice is probably applicable to any other clinical rotation, whether you're in nursing, PA school, med school, PT school, whatever it is, speech and language, counseling, any of it. I hope that it's applicable across the board of healthcare, but I only have experience in the OT world, so I'll use occupational therapy terminology as I talk about this. I myself am known to take advice from med students and apply it to OT world, so I would love for there to be a little bit more interdisciplinary advice giving. So if you're not in the OT bubble, welcome. If you are in the OT bubble, welcome. I'm excited to have you here. I just wrapped up my second full week-long fieldwork experience, and it was in acute care, and I felt super prepared for it, both because I've already done a rotation in acute care that happened accidentally, and because I prepped with these things that I'm just going to share. This video will probably be very short. We're just going to blow through it. So let's go. So the first thing that you should do to be prepared for your fieldwork experiences is reach out to your clinical instructor or your hospital if you don't have a CI yet, and ask what you should know, what patient population they see, and if they have any frequent diagnoses that they see.
Hi from the night before my first day of fieldwork. Last week I emailed my CI to ask if there was any patient population or condition that she sees frequently that I should be prepared for, and she said CVAs and then a lot of med surg she sees the post-op for. So I am currently reviewing my neuroanatomy so I can be prepared for a stroke.
I like to do this. I've done this for both of my full week rotations so far, and that was really helpful because on day one she said, what are your hip precautions for a posterior approach? And I was able to fire them off. If you don't know, no internal rotation, no adduction past midline, and no flexion to 90 degrees. Keep those in your head. I remember them because you can't twist, bend, or snap. Yeah, if I hadn't reviewed those wouldn't have been fresh at the top of my head, and I only knew to be prepared for that because I asked in advance. I like to do it about 1 to 2 weeks before. You don't need to be bugging your CIs very far in advance. They have enough going on. So the next thing is to not be afraid to look like a student. Carry a notebook, take notes while you're in sessions. You are introduced to patients as a student. Everyone that's on the staff knows that you're a student, so make the most of being a student and create opportunities for long-term learning by taking notes. Some of the helpful things that I would write notes down on were tidbits of experience that my CI was willing to share with me. I can learn all about hip precautions in the classroom. What I can't learn is how you motivate someone to use a sock aid. She also shared ways to analyze multiple things at once. Those are things that you learn from experience, and experience is invaluable. Use your notebook to write those things down. Use your notebook to reflect at the end of the day. Take notes. That kind of ties in to my next one, which is reflect. Don't just walk into a patient room, walk out, and say, okay, this is what I learned, and be done with it. Walk into that patient room, walk out, think about that patient interaction and how things that you have learned in school apply to that interaction. Think about what you haven't learned in school that applies to that interaction. How did you feel while you were interacting with them? How did they appear to feel? What are you seeing your fieldwork educator do that you think you could improve upon? Everyone is learning all the time. I'm not saying go into a space and say, hey, this is what you're doing wrong, but like use those opportunities to reflect on what you're seeing in practice and think about it more than just in the 20 minutes you're in a room with the patient.
I'm just sitting here thinking about my day and reflecting on patients, and I'm thinking specifically about a woman who was crying in the room, and I was shadowing on this experience, and the OT didn't use this moment of like vulnerability in this woman to find out more about what was going on in the woman's life. And this is a woman who's very not motivated in therapy, but has high therapeutic potential. So she has a lot of potential to gain from therapy, but she's not motivated, so it's kind of a struggle to work with her. But I'm just thinking about that right now. I'm like, man, there's obviously something emotional and mental going on there. That's where OT has the ability to stand in, and we were flying from patient to patient today, and we really missed out on an opportunity to kind of crack her walls. And I'm not at all saying that my OT did not do that. She did ask if everything was okay, but she didn't pry deeper, and again, it was completely understandable because we were just flying from patient to patient. But I'm realizing that we missed an opportunity to do the best for a patient, and I'm bummed I didn't realize it in the moment. But I would never have gotten there without reflecting.
I touch on asking questions, ask them all. There's no stupid questions. I would ask things like, well, why are you using a walker with this patient? I would give what I inferred from the assessment and see if it matched my CI's line of thinking. And then obviously the questions like, how do you do this? Why are you doing this? And I would, at the beginning of the week or your time with them, ask what the best way to go about questions is. Do they want you to wait until after you're done seeing a patient, or can you just blurt them out while you're in a patient room, as long as it's appropriate? And then if they say, I'd actually prefer that you wait till after we're done seeing the patient, great, now you can write them down in your notebook that you're carrying around because you're not afraid to be a student. Be willing to make mistakes, and with that, ask to get more involved. I think the way that I prefer to do it is on my first day, I like to just see how things work and get a feel for the flow, but then I like to help. I wouldn't have gotten a lot of opportunities if I didn't ask. Your CI knows that they're there to teach you. They know that you're not, I mean, you're a student, you're not supposed to be good at things. So they're not judging. Yeah, ask to get involved and take those opportunities to make mistakes while someone is watching you so that you don't make them while you're practicing on your own. It is likely that if you're on a fieldwork experience, then all of the peers in your cohort are also on that experience. So talk to your peers while you're out. This is your opportunity to have access to people that you can bounce ideas off of. They're in the same level of thinking as you, and it also just makes you feel normal. Laugh about the mistakes that you guys made that day. Talk about your experience in different settings. Talk about the team environment at different settings and compare. Like, this is your chance to learn about different settings. Then my last piece of advice is express your gratitude. Write a thank you note for your CI. 100% worth it to express gratitude to our teachers so that they stay motivated and excited because they understand the impact that they're having on you. And we need good teachers to create good OTs. Those are my ways to be successful in fieldwork. I think the most important thing is just take the opportunity to learn and learn in the way that works best for you. But those are hopefully some ways that you can learn more while you're out there. Have fun. And of course, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to see more OT/grad student content, because I will be posting it. If you have any questions, as always, drop them below, and I will see you next week.